Hello, my name is Alice Osborn. I'm a singer-songwriter out of Raleigh, North Carolina, and I want to thank the Carborough Music Festival and the Carborough Parks and Rec folks for having me at the Carborough Music Festival 2020, which is a little different this year for obvious reasons. I am president of the North Carolina Songwriters Co-op, and I'm also a poet and freelance editor when I'm not practicing and playing my music. I am also working on a really big project, which I will share some of the songs from that project. I'm working on the powerful women of the Donner Party, and the Donner Party was an ill-fated group of immigrants who were leaving Illinois for California, 1846. They got stuck in the snow, and much tragedy and drama ensued. But the women's voices were remarkably preserved, which was very rare for 19th century, since most of the women survived the tragedy, and there were a lot of women and children on that wagon trip, which is really unique for having ordinary women's voices preserved. And I take their voices and move them into song. I'm really having a lot of fun with the project. I'm also working on my novel that's related to one of the Donner Party survivors. And that's some of my creative stuff. If you'd like to contribute to my efforts, my PayPal is paypal.me/Alice Osborn1, and my last name does not have an E on it. And I have my Venmo account, which is at Alice Osborn, and it's Alice-Osborn-4 as my account. And you'll see this picture of me playing music on my Venmo. Anyway, let's get started. My first song is about High Noon, and that is directly about the classic movie High Noon, starring Gary Cooper, Lloyd Bridges, Lon Chaney Jr., and the inimitable Grace Kelly before she became Princess Grace of Monaco. Princess Grace, before she was Princess Grace, marries the Gary Cooper character, Will Kane. And Will Kane gives up his sheriff's badge so that he can start a new life with Amy. But unfortunately, the bad guys are coming to get him, and nobody wants to help him in the town. And he knows that he has to clean up the mess, but nobody wants to help him clean up the mess. And this song is about doing the right thing when nobody wants to help you, but you have to do the right thing because you can't live with yourself if you don't. After my wedding, I hung up my star. Now he's coming for me from afar. Lord, I put that man away, but he's ready for his vengeance day. Hear that whistle blow, I'm not much of a hero. Stay with me, don't you leave. Say, what do you believe? I said, what do you believe? At high noon, oh, he's coming for me. At high noon, we will be free. At high noon, come back to me, and we will leave this sour town for someday. At high noon, after our vows were made out for the plains, turning us back caused you such pain. Now when the whole darn town runs, oh, I'll stand up with my old gun. Oh, hear that whistle blow, I'm not much of a hero. Stay with me, don't you leave. Say, what do you believe? I said, what do you believe? At high noon, now he's coming for me. Thank you all so much. I love to do historical songs, if you haven't already guessed. And my new album, which is a year old today, was Searching for Paradise, and you can find it easily on my website, which is aliceosborn.com. And those two songs, well, the next one that I'm going to play, are on the album. The next one is Radio Man, which is about one of my favorite authors and producers and creators, Rod Serling, whom we lost early when he was 50 years old. He wrote, of course, The Twilight Zone, but many people don't know that he got his start practicing for The Twilight Zone by being a script writer on the radio. He was also a very, very brave paratrooper in World War II, and he should have died about 20,000 times. And this song is about some of his trauma and about the creative forces that artists have to go through in order to produce their art. When a lot of people say you can't do it and you have to keep going no matter what. And it's called Radio Man. I hear the stars fighting somewhere in the Milky Way. Spaceship in a cornfield, a gremlin tears apart. Seats stuffed with hay. Escaping the living doll, running up Maple Street. I see the Nazis on trial, the Martians chat. How history will repeat. I once knew a radio man who wished he could fly. His voice choked with grief, never forgetting. Friend shot dead in the sky. Oh, let's run into the fire, holding our swords so high, shouting above the voices that tell us, oh, that tell us we can't even try. What are the monsters serving tonight down the Twilight Zone? A hearty meal of mankind past the salt. It's a trip into the unknown. Don't get too cold now in the midnight sun. I believe you're going my way. Lend me some faith. Another war's begun. I once knew a radio man who wished he could fly. His voice choked with grief, never forgetting. Friend shot dead in the sky. Let's run into the fire, holding our swords so high, shouting above the voices that tell us, oh, that tell us we can't even try. I once knew a radio man who wished he could fly. Thank you, jazz hands, yeah. My next song is called Are You Men from California or Do You Come from Heaven? And those were real words spoken by Mrs. Lavina Murphy of the Donner Party. She was 37 years old, but accounts report she looked probably around 70. She was a young widow who had a large family that composed of her sons and daughters. Her oldest was in her 20s, and her youngest was a baby. Baby or young elementary school age kids, a large span of children. She also had her son-in-law family, two son-in-laws, families, all were gathered from Illinois to California. It was the Murphy entourage. And they lived in the Murphy cabin, which was a pretty large cabin for a lot of people during the Donner Party encampment. And she pokes her head out when she hears shouts on February 19th, 1847. And that day, finally, after 4.5 months, the rescuers, 7 of them, very brave people who had to go through the mountains themselves, came upon the Donner Party camp, thought there was nothing there, but they heard Mrs. Murphy say those words. And the song is about that time, and it also is a happy day, but it's also there's a lot of weight because the children and the teenagers, who were mostly the ones selected and strong enough to go over the mountains, they had a very hard ordeal, 90 miles, and there were still people left behind at the camps. That was only the first of 4 rescues. Hope is like bread. What does it taste like? Huddled in dirty shawls, cheeks are sunken in. Are you surprised we haven't all died? Are you surprised we haven't all died? Then Mrs. Murphy poked her head out, hearing shouts, and weakly said, "Are you men from California, or do you come from heaven? Belief is tough to come by. In 1847, we've been waiting so long for you. Birds won't sing, our hearts are dim. Can you scoop up a speck of life? Please help us, it's too hard to cry. Ready the strong of faith will fight the snow-wrapped tight heads and toes. For the 90 miles, it's a long drive. Keep the kids alive. It's a long drive. Keep the kids alive. Then Mrs. Murphy poked her head out, hearing shouts, and weakly said, "Are you men from California, or do you come from heaven? Belief is tough to come by. In 1897, we've been waiting so long for you. Birds won't sing, our hearts are dim. Can you scoop up a speck of life? Please help us. It's too hard to cry." Whisper prayers, kiss the little ones, it's not over yet. They fly high from the herd, clouds hang close. Who wants to live the most? Oh, clouds hang close. Who wants to live the most? Then Mrs. Murphy pointed to the newly dead. She smiled and weakly said, "Are you men from California, or do you come from heaven? It's another bitter morning in 1847. Goodbye,
and brave, sound and true. I can't sing, my heart is dim. I will eat up a speck of life. You can't help me. You can't help me. It's too hard to cry. You can't help me. It's too hard to cry. Thank you all so much. And this song is about Steve McQueen. We lost him November 7th, 1980. But his car and his legend live on. His car, the Mustang in Bullitt, 1968, with that iconic car chase in the streets of San Francisco, was sold earlier this year for $3.74 million. And it's a regular old 1968 green Mustang, but it's a very special car because it was amplified for the race, and Steve drove it. And my chorus in this song, Steve wanted everyone to know that he did his own stunts, that he wanted to prove himself over and over again. And as you listen, you'll probably figure out some of the reasons why he felt the way he did. This is the King of Cool. I idle my bike in this lonely field. It's dry as a Southern Baptist wedding. In the movies, I worked my own stunts, except when Bud jumped that fence. I don't smoke, I don't drink anymore. My body's giving up before telling me to score. I never kissed my father's cheek, but I saw me every week. At nights Uncle Claude threw me against a wall. So after spending the day drinking whiskey, I don't smoke and I don't drink anymore. My body's giving up before telling me to score. You need to know I drove the Mustang. You need to know I get the last word. Maybe other people can fail, but I can't choose. So when I die, it'll be, when I die, it'll be front page news. I was dust that blew into Chino, where I was never tall or strong enough. And when I became a star of the screen, you know I gave 'em Chino boys, so band jeans, so band jeans. Now you can run, but you cannot avoid, oh, a body, a life, all destroyed. You need to know I drove the Mustang. You need to know I get the last word. Maybe other people can fail, but I can't choose. So when I die, it'll be, when I die, it'll be front page news. Great, cool. That was King of Cool, because Steve McQueen was always cool and he will always be cool. My next song is about a truck, and the truck's owner is Bob, and Bob has abandoned his old truck, and this is called Old Derelicts. And it was inspired by a painting. Why did you park me by the barn on that old Chatham County farm? Well, I miss new paint and new shocks. Please remove my blocks. We fix the leaks and we stop the squeaks, but I can't roll, nowhere to go except to feel the ghost gripping my wheel. Bob chases the rain along the window pane, forgets about the cans in the chain link frame. I sleep to the crickets in twilight, missing his voice, light like rust. Get smoked with whiskey and rust. Now why did you park me by the barn on that old Chatham County farm? I miss new paint and new shocks. Please remove my blocks. We fix the leaks and we stop the squeaks, but I can't roll, nowhere to go except to feel the ghost gripping my wheel. Bob crosses my flat tires, scuffed in the grass. Circles of time repeating so fast. I listen to the crickets in twilight, a new V8 engine under my hood, and we worked so well together when everything was good. When it was so good, but why did you park me by the barn on that old Chatham County farm? I miss new paint and new shocks. Please remove my blocks. Oh, we fix the leaks and we stop the squeaks, and I can't roll, nowhere to go except to feel the ghost gripping my wheel. Thank y'all so much. It's cool. And my next song is, you may notice some themes of alcohol in my work, a lot of whiskey. I think whiskey is a beautifully lush word for song and poetry. Sometimes it's with an E, and sometimes it's without an E, depending on where the whiskey's made. And that relates to this next song, which is called Angel Share. In Scotland, there's hardly any angel share, which is the amount of evaporation that occurs. The alcohol goes away. And that's not the case in the UK or Canada, where whiskey is sometimes without the E because of the atmospheric conditions. But in North America, and especially in Nashville, Tennessee, you know, those places that have more humidity, anywhere in the East Coast, rick houses and rick house managers have to account for the 4% loss of their alcohol due to humidity. And I stumbled on this fact, and I said, okay, my song just wrote itself. Thank you so much. And this is called Angel Share. Last night you told me, baby, let's be friends. And I thought, for God's sakes, not again. How can you evaporate, leave me behind in such a state of lonely, such second class? And every day I try not to call. I guess I didn't see the cracks in the walls. I can't disengage from your glass. Well, you're my angel share. Drops of whiskey lost to the air. White wings, they snatched you far away. Caught in a vortex of dismay. But maybe on my dying day I will drink a toast with the Holy Ghost and declare what you share, it ain't fair. Last night as I drank strong Jack and Coke, I thought we were thick like ropes. How can you disappear, propel into the atmosphere? And it's not easy faking I'm fine. Are you smiling down at me while the winds curl at your feet on cotton clouds, bidding me adieu? You're my angel share. Drops of whiskey lost to the air. White wings, they snatched you far away. I'm caught in a vortex of dismay. Maybe on my dying day I will drink a toast with the Holy Ghost and declare, yeah, I'll drink a toast with the Holy Ghost and declare what you share, it ain't fair. Little hand signals, yeah. My next song is called William Eddy, and William Eddy has become a very special person to me. He is my main character in my historical novel, and he suffered a great deal. He lost his wife and 2 kids in the Donner Party tragedy, and he went across the mountains 4 times. And in this song, the speaker is Georgia Donner, and Georgia lost her mom and her father. She was, of course, part of the Donner family, which the whole tragedy is named after. And she survived because of William Eddy's bravery. He carried her 46 miles on his back, and she loved him. I don't think they had much of a relationship after that because he went his own way and married again and died at the young age of 43 from his heart condition, which he, of course, gained from that winter of crossing the Sierra Nevada mountains 4 times in the dead of winter. William Eddy, do you remember me? I am Georgia, and to your tender care I owe my life. William Eddy, what was your destiny? Why did you come so far? Staring at indifferent stars, William Eddy, the hour of desperation. Oh, you stole and killed and left behind all you knew. And I was 5 when you saved my life, but you couldn't save your sons and wife. Was it worth it to be so kind? Was it worth the sacrifice through the what-ifs and the cries? My sisters and I survived. You told our mother you'd save us or die. William Eddy, you led us through the past, always patient. We could only go so fast, William Eddy, in the hour of desperation. Oh, you killed and used and left behind all you knew. And I was 5 when you saved my life, but you couldn't save your sons and wife. Was it worth it to be so kind? Was it worth the sacrifice through the what-ifs and the cries? My sisters and I survived. You taught our mother you'd save us or die. You told our mother you'd save us or die. William Eddy, do you remember me? I am Georgia, and to your tender care I owe my life.
Thank you so much. And looks like we have time for one short one. And thank you all again. My name is Alice Osborn, and my PayPal links are displayed right there, but for easy access, you can always go to aliceosborn.com, find out more about me, and also check me out on my YouTube. Same name, and I post 1 video a week, and I'd love to have your comments and subscribe to my YouTube. My next song is Amelia, Don't Leave. I usually start with the words first, but in this tune, I started with the music first. It's about Amelia Earhart from the point of view of her sister. Amelia, don't leave. You just need to breathe. You want a new record more than anything, so you've souped up your Electra's wings. You still got lots to prove. I'd take that radio if I were you. Amelia, don't leave. You just need to breathe. You're a woman with a plan, doesn't lean on a man. Well, only sometimes. And
30s, and for women it's hell. You're in plenty of debt with this crazy flight. You might regret, you might regret. Amelia, don't leave, 'cause I don't want to grieve. Maybe you can't land, but your mark will stand. You still got lots to prove. Don't let this flight be your doom. Well, I know you will. You hit your 30s and go, what the hell? You have found your purpose, and that's what makes, oh, it makes folks nervous. It makes them nervous. Amelia, I believe there's nothing you couldn't achieve. But now that you're gone, the world moves on, flying through the stars. You're never far. Oh, flying through the stars. You're never far. Thank you all so much. This was the delight of the fall. It's Scarborough Music Festival. Thank you all so much.